It's interesting that you can reduce the levels of stress and worry quite significantly if you focus less, think less about things that you really can't control and that have nothing or very little to do with your own life. Like, for instance, reducing the amount of news that you're consuming. Doing that reduces the levels of stress quite significantly, actually. And that could be easier said than done, you might think, in this super informative world. And even a person like the extremely experienced diplomat Jan Eliasson, whom I interviewed in the latest episode here, number 17, he also expressed that he was pretty worried about the state of the world. But it turns out that he was actually living or acting quite a bit in the so-called headline world, the world of headlines. Because when we started talking about what was actually going on in the world with the 7.8 billion people that are living on this planet, doing things, taking their children to school, working, trying to get their life going, inventing things, meeting, being generally pretty happy actually, then Jan Eliasson also admitted and realized and said that maybe we focus a little bit too much on governments and what's happening on the government level. So even he was affected by this headline world of headlines. So cut down a little bit on news. That's my advice. Actually, you can connect what Jan Eliasson said with the episode number 15 when I was interviewing the migration expert Hein de Haas, because Jan Eliasson expressed worries about something that isn't really a thing. If you listen to the migration expert Hein de Haas, you realize that it isn't a thing, namely that climate change is already producing large numbers of climate refugees in West Africa or in Africa in general, moving towards Europe or whatever, which isn't actually the case. It's a desktop product, but there are many desktop products out there. Reports written by experts and politicians and organizations and whatever who are saying these things, but it's not happening if you look on the ground. So I don't know if it's a comforting fact or not, but even a person as experienced as Jan Eliasson can express worries about something that is not really happening. Not to say that he's not extremely knowledgeable in many other respects. Just a reflection, just a thought. So, what's happening on the podcast front? Well, looking forward, I have been checking out some studios. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them, but always looking at possibilities of increasing the quality of sound and everything. So I've been doing that, and I've also been looking into the monetizing aspect of this. I haven't started doing this because I thought I was going to be rich or make a lot of money, because you don't having a podcast, that's for sure. At least most of the podcasts aren't money machines. But anyway, eventually I will probably have to monetize this activity somehow. And talking about money, I'm clinching now interviews with at least 2 people who are talking about and dreaming of and conceptualizing, sketching up a world without money, a world with no money system, and also a world with no nation states. Those interviews, those conversations are coming up. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be super interesting. And in the very next episode, I myself am going to do a solo show, a solo episode where I talk about time, which perhaps doesn't either exist. So, a world without money, without nation states, and without time. How about that? Have a nice weekend.